Coach Jags, how's everybody doing?
Good morning. I like the sound of that.
Look, you know what? I'm going to give you your love. I'm going to let you have your love. Right? You know, I'm not going to even hate right now. As a matter of fact, I will step back and let you open this one up. How about that?
Coach Odom, we appreciate you here at the 2019 SWAC Football Media Day. Traditionally, this signals that football is here. How are you feeling about this 2019 season for the Jaguars?
Well, you know, I think every year you come into it is different. You know, I think when you look at the preseason accolades and you look at the number of guys we got coming back, experience is something I think as a head football coach you look at as a plus on your side. So the biggest thing is just making sure we can stay healthy, get through this summer. But I'm really excited for how hard the guys I worked this offseason, the attention to detail, and really the motivation for 2019. And I think, well, the biggest thing is that you know as a coach that those guys are going to be 1 year older. The biggest question mark going into 2018 was quarterback and the battle at quarterback. And my biggest thing was that if we couldn't find a quarterback to lead us, then we think the pieces are falling in place. Well, it took us the first half of the season. We found the quarterback, and I think when you look at LeBarius Skelton, you realize that everything is going forward with him. And when you see that, you got an opportunity to say, okay, this football team could do something really special. Now, those pieces return in 2019. Mm-hmm. So really going into 2018, the only question mark was quarterback. Now that you return all those pieces of the puzzle, you say, okay, now you can see why people expect us to be really, really good. And I don't think that's pressure because I think we expect our team to be really good every year. So I think the biggest thing is that not letting that get to you, just stay humble and continue to work and follow the process. And we've been able to do that the 6 years I've been the head football coach at Southern.
And one of the things, too, every year brings on different challenges, albeit you made some adjustments on your staff. Of course, Coach Alger left to become head coach at North Carolina Central, but you still seem to have that chemistry, and you still seem to believe that this team, with the improvement of Skelton and those around him, that, hey, you just pick up where you left off last year. I'll be one game away from the championship, winning it all.
Well, you're right. I think the biggest thing is that when I look at where we are as a football team, defensively, and you say we lost Coach Oliver, Lionel Washington is going to be defensive coordinator. We said we got guys coming back. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Let's simplify some things that we did. Let's tweak some things, and let's keep a lot of the things the same. And when you do that, I think we're coaching to what our players can do and what they know. And we think that's going to be a lot of carryover. Defensively, we got a lot of guys coming back. We shored up the defensive line. I really think Calvin Lumpkin's going to be one of the better linebackers. And if we can just play well together and stay healthy, I think we got a really good football team.
Offensive line play, another solid unit. I think Coach Berry does a great job with the offensive line. You mentioned during the offseason, I'm going back to Skelton, you said you never, well, he throws a long ball as good as you've seen since you've been coaching. You wanted to see him develop the other aspects, the intermediate passes. We know he's a hell of an athletic quarterback. He's added all of that. That could make him just that much dangerous.
Well, I think you see the growth from year one to year two, especially at quarterback. Just understanding what your weaknesses are and having an off season to really work on those things. And he works as hard as anybody in our program. And the drive to want to be successful, he has that. Great competitor, great young man. And I just hope the best for him because we don't put a lot of pressure on our players. I usually put all the pressure on my back. I usually control those guys and what they say and who has media access to them. But I think he understands pressure comes with being the quarterback at Southern University, but he also has pressure on himself to be great. And I think you got to have those intangibles when you're talking about being a successful quarterback.
Visiting with Coach Dawson Odom, head football coach of the Southern University Jaguars. Adding pieces. How do you fit adding those kids that come into the program, via the NCAA transfer portal. What I noticed though, I would say 90% of them are either redshirt freshmen or they still have 3 or 4 years of eligibility. To me, that sets that apart than getting somebody that just has a year left. Can you talk about that?
Well, usually a transfer, the more years he has remaining, the better the impact you will have on those individuals. But I think that it's all about getting the right guy, because our locker room has been created and defined. So we want to bring the right mixture of guys in there. I stay away from certain things, certain topics. I get texts and emails all the time asking me about, Coach, are y'all gonna take this guy? Would you be interested in this guy? We've created a culture at Southern University that is stable, and the wrong kind of guys can make your culture unstable.
Quick.
So I don't really I'm not gonna sacrifice who I am as a person for talent. And I just believe that I'd rather take a high school guy and groom him and grow him to become successful. Now, we've took some transfers, but we really did our homework on the ones that we have. And if I take one that's a bad apple, I will not take another one, because I'm not going to allow a bad apple to be attached to another bad apple. So at the end of the day, we hold them to a high standard. They understand exactly where we're staying and what we're doing. Everybody says HBCU should be a second chance for transfers, but at the end of the day, I have daughters, and that's why I tell my players all the time. There's certain topics that I stand on that I refuse to deal with as a head coach, and that's just how I am as a person. And I believe my players respect that, our program respect that, and I respect that as a man. So at the end of the day, it's certain things that I will not touch, and our players understand that. So we don't turn away from some really good players, but I just believe the culture for our program is defined. And if it's all about winning, then I'm not that guy, because I'm about building a young man and having a locker room that's about the success for these young men.
And in 2019, season's fast approaching. As always, Southern with an interesting first 4 games. What do you think about the schedule? You've known it to be in place for a while now. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I tell you, it's challenging, but I really think it's feasible. I think when you open up with McNeese, it's an in-state rival. It gives you an opportunity to really see where you stand with your football program, and then you follow that up going to Memphis, which is one of the more talented football teams speed-wise. So you get somebody that's on your level, then you get somebody that's a little bit better than your level. But I think it's a good evaluation. There's some good opportunities, and like I tell our guys, if you want the greatness that comes with winning, then you got to go beat some teams that nobody believes you can beat. Throwing Elwood Waters for the Pete Richardson Classic, then you go on the road and take on a rival in FAMU. And when you're doing that, I think it gives us a great opportunity to know exactly what kind of football team we have through the first 4 games. Because you're playing up, you're playing on the same level, and you're playing down. So I think at the end of the day, it gives you a chance to really evaluate your football program.
Brother Prince, I know you got a question.
Yeah, I got a question or two if you got time, Coach. Last year I keep remembering, I don't want to say a breakdown, but there was an emotional outpour. You guys won a game, man, and it seemed like it turned that entire program around. You make it all the way through, and then you fall short in the SWAC championship game. But to get there from that point of no return, now that you have this new contract, do you feel like the pressure is off or has just been increased?
Well, I think pressure is all about how you look at it. In this game, we understand the value of winning. So that in itself is important. And I think before we went into the PV game, we lost homecoming. And I was really emotional because, one, I know how hard and difficult it is to prepare each and every week, and I know what our players put into it. And for our fans to boo those guys, it didn't sit well with me. And I'm going to stand up for our players. When they're right, I would stand up for them. And I didn't feel like they deserved that. Yeah, you lose games, But I don't think it was because of their effort. That team obviously proved that they were better than us. They beat us twice in that year. So we took that the next week that was the bye week, and all I told them was, look, I don't care what they say. That's why you always hear coaches say it's about the guys in this locker room. And I want you to know from a head coach, I love you. And we're not going to be defined by what happened to us. We're going to be defined by how we react to it. Now, we got a choice. We can go to Texas and we can play football, or we can hold on to this loss. We're going to bury it, we're going to get better, and we're going to go play with the same players. That's what I love about these guys, and that's why I'm so excited about 2019.
Well, you just saw your boy just kind of pat me on the back.
Well, I know what happened that game in Texas, but I've been accused of bringing that up a lot. So, but I'm not.
I'm not keeping tally, Coach, but he done said it 46 times that y'all beat my Panthers 38-0, and I was witnessing that, and I'm still a little unsettled in my stomach and my nervous system.
It's gonna be all right.
Yeah, it's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right.
It's gonna be all right. I gotta breathe into a paper bag or something to get through it. But in all seriousness, Coach, it was the calm before the storm, and he can tell you, I'm on record for saying it was the calm. Being in that situation where it is us against everybody else, even when the folks who's supposed to be rooting for you don't root for you. People don't understand the psychological bond that brings to a team, not only on the field, but off the field, that build friendships for the rest of their lives.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I think that's why this is the greatest game that prepare you for life. The adversity that you encounter as a football player, if you can handle it 4 to 5 years on a college campus, especially at a HBCU with all the ups and downs that you got to encounter, you're ready to go be whatever it is in life that you're called to be, because I really believe that's the experience that is second to none when you choose to go to a HBCU.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, Coach, I've always admired your body of work. I like the demeanor in which you get it in, and I got a witness. I've come to your defense. You know, I've come to your defense. What's the one thing, if you could, explain to a fan that they wouldn't normally recognize, and what it takes to lead a group of young men in this 21st century?
Well, the biggest thing is that I don't think people really understand how different a player is now versus 20 years ago or 10 years ago. I don't really think they can grasp that. I don't think they understand the technology of the individuals that we're dealing with. We're not coaching outside kids. We're coaching young men that are in the house. They grew up in the house. We're not talking about playground guys. So it's a lot of intangibles that you're learning being around other kids that these guys have never even experienced. So to be able to take an 18-year-old that may have never, ever shot basketball outside, do you know what kind of skills you develop being outside?
I know.
And this is not an outside generation. So to be able to coach these guys as a coach, you got to adapt to and learn what drives and motivate them. And I think the majority of them are not playing football for the reasons that they coach believe they should be playing. So to instill it in them on a day-to-day basis to get success is one of the hardest things I think it is for a head football coach today.
Wow. Coach, that's why I like talking to you. You hear this, man?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, so
I guess we were from that other generation that were outside and just kind of develop a certain way about us. And now the kids you have to adjust.
Got to adjust.
That's what he's saying. You have to adjust.
To go home.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess that's from hearing what you just said, Coach. It's easier to send a kid home than to deal with them.
And you want to be able to, I think, as an HBCU, you got to have the patience. But it's easy to deal with a freshman than it is to deal with a junior or senior. And I think once you become a junior and senior, there's some things about you that we shouldn't have to be talking about or dealing with if your program is doing what it's supposed to do. And when you get transfers from other programs, if they don't have at least 3 or 2 years available, then you're dealing with somebody else's issues and problems and communication. So it's hard for you to turn that guy into what you need him to become in order to be successful in your program.
That's key right there because I'm reading in between the lines. You didn't say this, but I'm going to interpret it. If you don't have 2 years, keep moving.
Well, it's hard.
And in most cases, 3.
Well, look at it from a stepfather's perspective. You marry a woman and she got kids that's 3 and 4 years old. If you're a good stepfather, by the time those kids are 6 and 7 and 8, they'll call you dad. If you got those kids at 14 and 15, then those kids will never call you dad, no matter what you do, because of the time lapse. You don't have a chance to impact their life like you do 3 and 4 year olds, and that's the same thing with recruiting. I don't have time to impact a guy's life that's got 1 year left. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to get is what I'm going to get, and that's what he's going to be when he lead the program.
So is it safe to assume, and I use that word very loosely, that a coach Odom-led team would even waste the time to go with a guy who might just have 1 year?
It really depends on who that guy is and what that guy is about. Because I got a guy on my team that's got 1 year left, and that we signed. But he's a married man. You know, he's in our program, and we're giving him an opportunity. And he's like the guys that we would have raised in our program. So understanding what you're getting and understanding your program, the problem comes in when you know what your program is about, but you lower your standards to say this guy, regardless what he's done, can help me win. And that's what I try to really gauge against in our program. Winning is very important, but is it the sacrifice of the locker room?
Right. Don't throw the baby and the bathwater out at the same time.
Correct.
You got to make sure, because it's a nurturing process, and it goes beyond the years of eligibility. You're talking about something that impacts these young men to become husbands one day, to become fathers one day. And I can see what your point being of reference. This man that's married, that's on your squad, he has a whole, or should be, have a whole different attitude approach into life at this stage of his life.
Correct. He has a total. He's looking at one. He's grateful for the opportunity to be playing, but he's in grad school. He's looking at his masters. He's looking at football don't work out. I already have Plan B in line, and to me, that's what it's about with all our players. A lot of our players have already graduated. We got about 6 to 8 guys that are going through the fall semester in grad school. You know, APR 98%. So, you know, it's like we've done a lot of things to create consistency in our program that you may not even hear about. But at the end of the day, what you see on the field, it's a lot behind the scenes that says these guys are not just football players. And to me, as a football coach, that's what I'm more grateful about, is that we're developing quality young men.
Yes, sir. And the quality young men, as you say, is what it's all about. Because you have, as you say, hundreds and hundreds of stepchildren.
Yeah.
And sometimes, in a lot of cases, you are going to be the closest thing to a father that these kids will come across.
Correct. You know, we did a thing the other day that we divided our team up. And I said all the single-parent moms or dads, if you're a single parent, you go sit over here. If you have 2 parents in your home, you sit over here. If you have a parent in your home or a stepfather or have a parent in the home, your father's still in your life but he's not in the home, you sit over here. And to see the team in their eyes. And what I try to give them to say, it doesn't matter what your circumstances are in life. We got 3.0 students over here. We got 3.0 students over here. Every section has 3.0 students. Every section has students have graduated early and in grad school. So don't tell me about your circumstances. You have the same opportunity to become successful in life, and quit thinking that you're going through it by yourself. It's a brother on the left of you, behind you, in front of you. But if you don't know your brother's life, then he can't help you get through your struggle. And it was an open experience for our coaches and an open experience for me to really understand who my players are. I know most of them as a head coach, but a lot of our assistant coaches, a couple of those guys are new. They had no idea that it was that many guys that were growing up in a room where they don't have 2 parents in the home. But we're not defined by 2 parents in the home. I'm a byproduct. My father left when I was 9, and I'm the head coach at Southern University. They don't write your story. You're in full control of what they write about you. And I think that's what makes our football team unique, and that's what makes it great. And that's why I'm grateful to be the head coach at Southern University.
And that's why I'm grateful to be here on Radio Row doing the interviews that we do, because of statements like that, because of stories that will never get captured by, let's just say the normal media, because they're so busy looking for the eye candy. These are the nuggets that someone can go back 5 years from now, 5 days from now, listen to this interview, and you be like, you know what? I want to go to Southern University and play for Coach Odom. Because of statements, because it's more, yeah, we want to win, and we're going to win, but I want to win in life. I want to win where it counts the most. And I appreciate you, Coach. I really do. You got anything, Carlos?
We ended on that note.
You don't need to say nothing else.
Yeah.
You don't need to say nothing else.
I will say this: best of success in 2019. Of course, I won't be far away. I'll be somewhere in Baton Rouge in the press box looking around. Fans are fanatics.
Yep.
Being a sports talk host, you kind of have to manage the different facets.
Correct.
I'm a graduate of Southern University, so I get emotional.
How many times you gonna mention that, man?
Oh, this is only the first time, I think, today. It's understood what you say. I appreciate you coming by and talking with us. Best of luck in 2019. And I'll still remember that 2019 I heard in 2018. That's just a little personal thing I will remember. And we're going to see how it all plays out. Y'all right, Brother Prince?
Yeah, man.
Okay, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah,
Coach,
Coach,
it was tough, but that's all right.
I love you, Coach. I love you, Coach. I'm serious. I'm not playing. I'm a PV graduate. That's all I'm saying, Coach. I love you, though, man. I appreciate you to the utmost, man.
Thank you.
And I've told him this. I've told Carlos, this guy to my right that's giving me a hard time. One of the reasons that I make the trip to SWAC Media Day is to talk to Coach Odom. And I mean that from the depths of my heart, sir. From the very depths of my heart.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Any closing comments as we get ready to shut this down?
Tickets on sale. Ticket books are on sale. And, Jags, I tell you like this, you want the championship in Baton Rouge, then I promise you, if you can get to the stands during the season, it increases our chances of getting there in December. It increases our chances of playing for it at home in Baton Rouge. The support is needed not only for our football program, for all our athletic teams. Buy them now. They're on sale. We'd love for you to have one, and we can't wait to see you in 2019 at A.W. Mumford Stadium. Go Jags.